Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. I've been gone for a month. I literally have not posted since Christmas. I did a 25 days of emotional level up to help get people through the holiday season. And in that month of silence, I've been doing a lot of mother work and a lot of soul work. But on Christmas Day, the morning of Christmas Day, kind of experienced this freak accident with my son to where suddenly I hear this cry, and you know how your kids have certain cries for certain things. It was like this helpless cry, and so I run to see what it is, and my baby, like, the dryer is literally, one of them big dryers is literally tipped over, and he's like right there just crying, struggling. And luckily, the only thing that happened was that the door hit his lip, and so his lip was bleeding. But I'm just so grateful that that thing did not fall on him and crush him. And yeah, and I'm glad that he's okay. But I say that to say, it had me in this deep reflection about parenting. Because it's like, I always tell him, you don't climb on things, and you know what I'm saying, and to be careful. So he's at an age where he knows right from wrong. But in that moment, I had to be compassionate, and cater to him. But also afterwards, we also have to have a conversation like, hey, I tell you things to keep you safe, and I tell you things because I love you. So I need you to listen and follow directions, and not even with myself, but more and more I'm starting to see that there are some kids that just refuse to listen, and they want to move to the beat of their own drum. And I have to say that sometimes it's the parenting, you know what I'm saying? So, and that's me just being real. But as a therapist, I see the end result of certain parenting patterns in my office every single day, and you know what I'm talking about. People are a product of their environment. People are a product of the household that they're raised in. But as a single mother who navigated a 5+ year divorce, I also know the deep aching temptation to overcompensate for our child's pain. It's a real thing. So we want to protect our sons, especially from the void left by an absent or inconsistent father. But here's the hard truth we have to face. In our attempt to save them from struggle, are we accidentally raising men who will be a burden to their future wives? Think about that. We raising potentially somebody daddy. We raising potentially someone's husband that is going to be the leader of a household. So today, this is so important. Today we're talking about the little prince syndrome and how to stop raising the man that you will eventually have to apologize for, because the first thing that people ask when something happens to a kid is, where your mama at? They don't even say where your daddy at. They say, where your mama at? Where's this kid's mama at? So if you haven't heard the term little prince syndrome, it's not a medical diagnosis. You'll find in a manual, it's actually a psychological pattern that describes a man who's been so emotionally catered to by his mama that he never truly grows up. So think of it this way. In the classic story, The Little Prince, he lives on a tiny planet where he's the center of the universe. Everything revolves around his needs. When we apply this to parenting, it happens when a mother, often out of, deep love or a desire to protect, places her son on a pedestal. And she becomes the buffer between him and the harsh realities of life. She handles his emotions, she fights his battles, and she anticipates his needs before he even speaks them. The result? He grows up with a royal expectation of the world. He becomes a man who is charming but lacks accountability. A man who is physically an adult but emotionally expects a partner to function as his new mother. Does that sound familiar to anybody? He doesn't know how to lead or serve because he spent his entire life behind being the son that everyone else orbits. In psychology, we talk about overfunctioning. When a father is missing or inconsistent, the mother often steps into this like super parent role. You aren't just the mom, you the provider, you the protector, you the disciplinarian, and the maid. Because we feel guilty that they only have us, we try to make life as smooth as possible. You know exactly what I'm talking about. We do their laundry until they about 20. We pay their phone bill. We wake them up for school. We manage their mood. We make sure they never feel the sting of a consequence because we don't want our kids to experience what we experienced. But here's the clinical reality of all of that. When you remove every single obstacle from your son's path, you aren't just showing him love. You're teaching him learned helplessness. You're inadvertently training that boy, that future man, to believe that women exist to buffer him from the world, and that's just not true. You probably can reflect back on your own dating history and your own dating path, and maybe you came across a man that he just wasn't doing the things that he was supposed to do, and you found yourself constantly trying to do for him, and then you get frustrated. And this is why you're raising a perpetual son. And that's basically a man who expects to be served rather than a man who knows how to partner, who knows how to be a leader. And we need to stop that, y'all. We need to stop that and take accountability for the future husbands and the future dads that we raising. Whew, I had to calm down from that one a little bit because the fire was turning up, the spark was sparking, okay? But so how do we fix this without feeling like we're being mean to our kids? Because, oh, I hate that. I hate to be perceived as mean by my baby. But at the end of the day, we parents, so we have to do what we have to do. So the first thing that I suggest is to implement necessary struggle. Yes, implement necessary struggle, because if you working, you got a job, guess what? That means you got money. He don't got money, so implement some necessary struggle. Next time he can't find his shoes or he's frustrated with the math problem, don't swoop in. Let him sit in the itch of frustration for 5 minutes. That itch is where character is grown. Frustration tolerance is a requirement for a successful marriage. Give you some number 2 to try. Shift from service to contribution. Chores are not a punishment. They are life skills training. A man who knows how to run a household is a man who will be an equal partner. Stop doing for him what he is developmentally capable of doing for himself. And then the last tip, protect the hierarchy. Understand this, you the parent. He is a child. He needs to see you as a whole person with your own interests, your own hobbies, and your boundaries. When he sees that you value yourself, he learns that women are people to be respected, not just resources to be used. You're not going to just use me to get you from point A to point B. You're not just going to use me to get you stuff for your sporting activities and for allowance and because you want these shoes and clothes. No. You the parent and he the child. So he needs to see you doing your own thing and pouring into you and not just him, because guess what? He's going to get older. He's not going to always be in the house with you. And then you're going to be sitting up there looking crazy like, dang, I invested so much into my kid. I did not invest anything into myself. So protect the hierarchy. Hopefully y'all still with me. If you are, if this is resonating with you, comment so we can build community, so we can have a dialogue, because I know that I'm not the only one who struggles with this. Raising a future husband and a future father as a single mama is the hardest job you will ever have. It requires us to put our own guilt aside for the sake of his future character. It's not about being a tough mom. It's about being a visionary mom. How many times have you come home and your teachers told you that your baby did something bad, something that you know that you not raising that type of kid, and you get home but you've been working all day and you too tired to discipline him? How many times has that happened to you? Has that happened to you? Drop it down in the comments. But I hope that everything that I said in this video, it resonates with you. And not only do I hope that it resonates, I hope that you go and you do the inner work and you reflect. I'm so glad to be back with you all. I want to keep this conversation going in the comments. Like I said, what is one thing you've been doing for your son that you know deep down that he should be doing for himself? Let's talk about it without judgment, because we all learning. I'm Cole. I'll see you in the next video where we're going to be talking about the stepdad vetting process. Because, you know, you can't raise a man by yourself. Some of us do, some of us can, but I'm sure we all would choose not to be by ourselves doing this. So in the next video, we're going to talk about the stepdad vetting process. And you don't want to miss that one. So keep showing up for yourself. That's how real change happens. Peace.